The sniper begins by showing an overview of the situation in the border areas of Southeast Asia. There is an illegal company headquarters there. However, the company named itself the World Savior Company. They pretend to be the saviors of children, when in fact, they are a group that sells human organs. Their presence is considered disturbing, so security forces from China were deployed to the border. There we will be introduced to a male sniper named Jin Ming. In this mission, Jin gets a big responsibility, where he is the key to this mission. Jin gets the task of killing the leader of the syndicate named Songpa. However, when Jin saw many children locked up, he wanted to save them. But his colleague rebuked him for not getting off track of his duties. His partner reminded him again that his job was to kill Songpa. When Jin took aim, he was surprised by the presence of a boy who could tell where he was hiding. Jin, who felt the boy had the talent to be a sniper, refocused the aim on him. On the other hand, Songpa army seemed to be on their way there. While Jin was still shooting, suddenly two men came who took the boy to the operating room. Apparently, that boy will be operated on to have his heart removed. When he saw that that boy was about to be executed, Jin immediately changed positions. His actions angered his comrades because Songpa would soon arrive, and the current position was not the right position to shoot him. Jin's goal was to change positions so that he could save the boy. When Songpa arrived at the place, Jin was in a dilemma between helping the little boy or killing Songpa. But in the end, he chooses to help the little boy. He immediately fired his bullet at the man who was going to operate on the child so that Songpa could survive that time. Songpa immediately retaliated against the attacks of his troops. Even though Jin troops could defeat Songpa troops, they still failed to do the mission because their target had escaped. Then Jin immediately took the child away from the operating room and intended to take care of him. The scene switches to 10 years later, where a man named Taiji is training to become a sniper. It turns out that Taiji is a small child who was helped by Jin 10 years ago. Now he has grown up with the help of Jin. Taiji is now the best sniper in his squad, but he has a rival that surpasses him. The sniper is a woman named Xiao Mei. She is Jin's child, brought from the same place as him. After they had practiced hard for a long time, a mission was finally entrusted to them, to kill Songpa. However, Xiao Mei, who was not included in this mission, protested to Jin, but he was silent and did not give any answer. Taiji was already at the scene and observing the enemy's movements. Meanwhile, Captain Wang felt a little pessimistic in the monitoring room because they had failed 7 times in the Songpa assassination mission. He felt that Songpa had spies in his army, and sure enough, Taiji's presence at the scene was discovered by Songpa troops. Apparently, Songpa has got a leak about this mission. Jin, who knew about this, ordered Taiji to immediately withdraw because Wang's suspicion was right that someone inside had leaked their mission to Songpa. Songpa spies sabotaged the monitor screen so they could not monitor and give directions to his troops at the scene. But through his communication line, Jin hears that Taiji will continue to do the mission alone because other troops have died in the mission. Jin, worried about Taiji's fate, asks Wang to send Xiao Mei to the crime scene, but Wang forbids her from leaving the base because he wanted to know who had leaked the information. Finally, there was an argument between Jin and Wang. After the monitor screen connection is back to normal, Wang tells Taiji to look for anything to prove it. There, Taiji found a laptop and immediately opened it. After the data was opened, he saw transaction data from the organization. The data shows that the organization has sold illegal weapons, drugs, and human organs. Moreover, he found a photo of a man named Jin Ming. Knowing Jin Ming's involvement with Songpa took them by surprise. Meanwhile, at headquarters, Jin Ming tries to defend himself against the accusations, but the real spy tries to shoot Jin out of the blue. Luckily, Xiao Mei managed to save him, then a fuss happened there. On the other hand, Taiji, who felt something was wrong at the base, immediately headed there. The conditions at the headquarters are still shooting between the two camps, namely Xiao Mei's and Wang's camps. By the time Taiji arrives at the base, the gunfights seem to have subsided. He found Wang's condition was helpless. He tells Taiji that Xiao Mei and Jin are traitors. Hearing this, Taiji was shocked. Jin suddenly pointed a gun from behind Taiji, but he managed to fight back. Then came Xiao Mei. But when he was about to shoot her, Jin protected her, and she was shot. While on the other hand, Songpa came to the headquarters of the Chinese troops and destroyed it. Then the scene switches to 8 years later. Because he fails in the mission to kill Songpa, Taiji finally becomes unemployed, and he is even considered a madman. When Taiji was walking and carrying a garbage bag, suddenly a boy ran up to him and called him Dad. The child is being chased by several men for stealing the money. The little boy asked Taiji for help, and he did not fight back until he was beaten by the group of men. Then Taiji took the child to his mother, Min, who turned out to be a prostitute. She gives him money from her work that night and asked him to take her son away from the place. Taiji says that he will bring the little boy, who is called Boy, to work for him, and he will be returned after the debt is paid off. Then he brought Boy to his house and asked him not to steal anymore. They both survive by picking up used goods to be repaired and resold. The money from selling it, as usual, will be used to buy drinks. He told Boy to learn to read and write like a normal child. When Boy is scavenging, he sees a poster announcing that anyone who wants to donate blood will be given a lot of money. This makes him want to donate blood because he wants to have a lot of money. But his wish could not come true because suddenly, Taiji patted him and told him to go home. A week later, Min came wearing sunglasses to visit her son. She smiled, seeing her son studying and not stealing anymore. Boy asked his mother to take off the sunglasses, but he was shocked to see his mother's eyes were bruised from being beaten by her customers. He then asked his mother to take 2 days off to rest. Then Boy approached Taiji and asked for money to feed his mother, who was off work for 2 days. Forcibly, Taiji gave the money to him. To thank Taiji for educating her son to be a better person, Min cooks delicious food for him. Min then said that Boy was not actually her son but her older sister's son. Her brother died from an overdose and left a huge debt. Finally, to raise Boy and pay off her brother's debt, she had to be willing to sell herself. After telling a lot, Min said goodbye and went home. While Boy was studying, his pencil accidentally fell to the floor. But he found a door on the floor that led to the basement, so he opened it. It turns out that inside is Taiji's sniper rifle. Soon, Taiji came and immediately closed the room again. Boy, who saw the gun, thought he was an assassin or a cop. The scene changed to an old man who turned out to be Jin and a woman who turned out to be Xiao Mei in the dining room. She said to him that there was a blood type that matched him. Then the scene flashes back to 8 years ago when the Chinese headquarters was destroyed, after which Xiao Mei and Jin managed to survive. Although Jin survived, the wound to his heart from Taiji's bullet was fatal. The doctor said that he could only survive about 3 to 5 years. There, he had to immediately get a new heart implant. Shortly after, Songpa and his gang came to Jin's operating room. He told Xiao Mei that Jin had leaked this mission to him. She has no idea why Jin committed this betrayal. She knew that he had betrayed her and wanted to kill him immediately, but she recalled the memory when he had helped and cared for her. Long, who sneaked in the middle of Songpa troops, managed to kill Songpa. Finally, Jin continued Songpa's business, while Xiao Mei and Long became his right hands. The doctor who operated on Jin said that he had a rare blood type and was very difficult to find. The scene switches to Taiji, who just woke up from sleep. Not long after, Boy came home with food, drinks, and a wad of money. Taiji instantly got angry and thought he had stolen. Taiji keeps chasing him away even though he has tried to explain. After Boy left the house, Taiji felt very sorry. He immediately left the house and looked for Boy's whereabouts. Boy, who was walking aimlessly, was kidnapped by Long troops. Taiji, who saw the incident, tried to stop the car, but his efforts were in vain. He accidentally saw a blood donation poster and immediately realized that Boy got the money from the blood donation. He remembers when Boy saw the poster, he was interested in doing it. Taiji then went to the hospital. He enters a room in the hospital and sees Boy's data on the monitor screen, which shows that he has a rare blood type. Taiji realizes that Boy's blood type is the same as Jin's. Then he attacks the doctor on duty and asks where the blood will be sent. The doctor said that the blood would be sent to the World Rescue Organization, which Jin has now taken over. But he thought that the organization was still led by Songpa. Then Taiji goes to a restaurant that turns out to be a place for selling illegal blood and human organs. He immediately disguised himself in cleaning service clothes to enter the body storage room, but he did not find Boy's body, which means he is still alive. After that, Taiji went to the patient room. Unfortunately, Dr. Kim realized that he was an intruder. From behind, Dr. Kim immediately injects an anesthetic into his neck. When Taiji sees Dr. Kim's face, he realizes that the doctor is a mad doctor who used to want to operate on him. Taiji immediately beats Dr. Kim and asks about where Boy is currently. But when Dr. Kim wanted to say who was behind all this, suddenly someone shot him to death. At the same time, Xiao Mei called Dr. Kim. Taiji, who saw the phone, immediately took it and picked up the phone. It turned out that she was in a building far from where Dr. Kim was and was getting ready to shoot. Taiji, who knew it, immediately made a light bias so that Xiao Mei's eyes were dazzled and her shot missed. Then swiftly, she switched to the cloth-covered weapon next to her, but he managed to escape. Not long after, Long and his squad came to the restaurant to arrest Taiji, but he managed to finish off some of them. Unfortunately, the anesthetic's effect started to affect his body and made him weaker. All of Long's troops were wiped out by Taiji until all that was left was Long alone. They engaged in a fierce battle without weapons until his body finally weakened and he fell from the top floor. Although Taiji's body was very weak, he could still walk. He managed to walk until he arrived at his house. Luckily there was Min, who immediately helped him. He tells her that Boy has been kidnapped, but he promised to bring him back home. Before Taiji left for the organization's headquarters, he prepared his sniper rifle. Then he told Min to pawn the necklace to Long's men to lure him out. Then he aimed at Long from a distance. In a state of serious injury, Long still trying to save himself. But Taiji catches Long to force him to say where Boy is being held. Then he took Taiji to that place. There were dozens of small children in that place, but Boy was not there. Taiji then kills Long and forces the operator to hack the accounts of the World Rescue Organization. Shortly after, Xiao Mei calls him, who says that Boy will have surgery soon. Then they negotiate. He offers to exchange the pin of the account belonging to the World Rescue Organization that is now in his hands with Boy's life. She then invites him to meet at the East City building at 12 p.m. When Xiao Mei arrived at the building, she was surprised that it wasn't Taiji but Min. She feels belittled and forces him to come out and face her face to face. Boy, who has been released from her bonds, picks up a fallen gun and threatens to shoot himself if anyone hurts Min. Boys can't die because they need his heart. Forcibly they let Min take him away. But when Min and Boy were outside the building, they were intercepted by Jin's troops. Then Taiji immediately shot the troops from a distance. Taiji and Xiao Mei start shooting at each other from a distance. During the firefight, Min continues to run to take Boy away with the supervision of Taiji. Unfortunately, they were caught by Xiao Mei, so Taiji had to find a closer position to aim. After Taiji and Xiao Mei were both in their respective positions, they shot each other. He chose to shoot the leg chair, so Xiao Mei fell while she shot him in the chest. But Taiji survived because he had a bulletproof iron installed on his body. He told Min to leave the building immediately. But suddenly, Jin arrives at the building and kills her. Taiji, who was late, witnessed the moment when Boy was taken away by Jin. He finds out that Jin is still alive. When Jin arrives at the base, he prepares for a heart transplant. But before that happened, Taiji shot the bulletproof glass. Then Jin ordered his men partly to confront him and some to guard inside the building. The shooting was monitored by Jin himself, but it seems that his new sniper is not as great as Taiji, who was the best senior sniper in his army. The shoot almost killed Jin's entire army, but there is only one sniper left alive, and no need to wait long, the last sniper of Jin troops was killed. Then Taiji entered Jin's headquarters, and he managed to kill all of Jin's troops. Now he and Jin are face to face, and without fear, he releases all his sniper attributes. When he wants to let Boy go, Jin shoots him, but Taiji doesn't care about Jin. Taiji still takes Boy away like Jin did when he saved Taiji when he was a little. Jin finally lets Taiji and Boy go from there. He finally died due to heart complications he had suffered so far. At the end of the film, Taiji is seen taking Boy to school. He calls Taiji Papa now. The moral that can be learned from this movie is that it's better to be an ex-bad guy than an ex-good guy. It is our last deed that will be the turning point in life. Besides that, no matter how many great people help us do the bad thing, it will not make us win.